Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. This is a how to beat series, which is a series designed to like teach you how to beat the meta decks of the current format. And I see like a lot of people just don't know how to play against Virtual World. And so today I'm gonna be teaching you how to clap this deck up and how to properly hand trap them, depending on what hand trap you play. And I can talk about the effectiveness of X, Y, and Z hand traps as well against these decks. What you see in front of me is my opponent drew 7 cards because cheating kicked W, and this is what he currently has. I'm gonna try to like combo off with his deck and show you how to basically hand trap this deck properly. So first things first, right? If I was playing this deck, I would been kind of crackhead. Like, this is actually kind of insane. Like, if you guys watch the stream, you realize that I didn't even choose this hand. I just literally just drew this hand. So let's say I activate Quan Loon. You see right here that I'm gonna get the capital, obviously. And then for the first point of interaction is going to be Lulu on the trap. You should know that like it is possible to just ash this card because it is really powerful. But if they just go normal summon and activate anything else in hand, they just kind of like win. So the important thing to know is we'll talk about the first hand trap here. So Lancea, you'll see that right here. If my opponent is somehow, let's say they go Lancea, right, and they Lancea me, this hand by itself can actually make VFD, double VFD through Lancea. The main reason being that you have access to 4 names. So that's important to know that Lancea, while it is a decent side deck card, it's not the greatest. And I can actually show you how to do that. So let's run through that really fast. I'm gonna speed through the combo and show why Lancea is not good. So I'm gonna go through it. So dump. I'm gonna add this. So if Lancea is your only hand trap, I'm gonna show you how it just literally doesn't matter. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Oops, sorry, misclicked. So we're gonna do that. Target the trap. We're gonna dump 2 more. We're gonna do this. Target trap. Target monster. Send this. We're gonna trigger Niang. And yeah, you're gonna literally see me make double VFD. So prepare yourself, to be honest. Yeah, we're gonna go this, and I'm sorry, cards can't get banished, so we go this. And we're gonna go this. Let's draw some cards. Summon this. Let's dump another trap, I guess. Bring this back. What you're gonna do is, yep, okay, we're gonna go, this and this into Shen, overlay into VFD. Oops, sorry. Let me just do that real quick again. Sorry guys, doing this live on stream, so none of this is like pre-recorded. Like I didn't like put and memorize some random combo and just upload a thing. I'm literally showing you. Use this effect, attach like, let's say it was supposed to be the Shen, but it doesn't matter. I'm just like, you guys get the gist. Make Cloud Castle, bring this back, and now like that's a double VFD through Lancea. Like it just, so you see like the effectiveness of Lancea. And at end phase, you know, what I mean, I get back another card, so I'm like, yo, it's just so crazy. So that's just like a good example of how like Lancea isn't like the greatest. Now I'm gonna show you and talk to you about like, let's say Skullmeister, right? So let's say I have Skullmeister. If my opponent has Skullmeister, it's kind of decent because what you want to hit is on the first search, you want to Skullmeister the Qinglong, and if their hand isn't good enough, if they don't have another name, they actually can like realistically pass. And that's like something that's important to like note. It stops you from getting to another name. Obviously, Capital Lulu is one of the best openings. The other thing to keep in mind is this. Let's say, hypothetically, there are some hands where you can actually make 1 VFD, but you can make 2. So you'll see this, like, it's going to be pretty common. Like, the end board is something along these lines. These cards are in the grave. This is, like, around banish. Shen is in the banished pile. The Crocosaur is, it's going to be, let me just put this back. You're going to have this back. This is, like, a very common end board. You're going to have, like, a Lao Lao that got modified to a level 9. You're going to have a Croc, and then you're going to have this. Or Shen, depending. And this is your end board because you didn't draw that optimal. A lot of people would gamma like Lulu's effect, right? Because a Lulu capital by itself is a VFD, but it's not double VFD, and that's important to note. Um, but by that instance, you understand that gamma, you don't want to use it on Lulu. As tempting as it is, you don't actually use it on Lulu, and the main reason being that like even if you gamma them throughout their combo, if their hand's good enough, they can make a second VFD anyways. But what you can do is hold the gamma if it's your only hand trap, and wait for them to like pass turn like this. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna gamma the VFD when they shotgun it, right? And then now by holding the gamma, you guarantee that look, if they had the capability to make double VFD, they were already guaranteeing playing through gamma. If they cannot make a double VFD and they shotgun, the gamma just beats them. If they don't, the other potential option is, as you can see here, is Kaijus, right? So it makes it really hard when you play both gamma and Kaijus that they don't know what to expect. Because the trap card cannot play around gamma, and if they play around gamma, then they don't play around Kaijus. And that's why like you see my Infinite Noble list at top actually main deck Kaijus, is because I wanted to mind game my opponent thinking I play gamma, which I do side deck by the way. And then have both instants ready so that you can outplay your opponent at both avenues. And so that's something that you want to keep in mind. Cam is, I thought, okay, that's just some random guy. But anyways, that's something that it's really important to know. So I guess tip number 3 would be to hold gamma for your turn when your opponent shotguns VFD. If they're able to make double VFD anyways, you are already losing the game. So that's something to keep in mind if gamma is your only hand trap. The next thing to know is Nibiru, right? And like how good is Nibiru? So well, we talked about Kaijus, talked about gamma, talked about Meister, and we talked about Lancea. So now we're gonna talk about Nibiru and when to like correctly Nibiru this deck. So it's really simple actually. So basically what you're gonna do is this. I'm gonna show you. So basically, I'm gonna show you through I'm gonna walk you through like the combo if they didn't open optimal. Even if they do, it just doesn't matter. So let's say you go Lulu capital, right? It's the most common combo. You go Lulu, you dump spell. Let's say you add let me add Lao. Banish this. Let's say you search Lily. You go Lily on the set. Let's dump some more. So you're going to dump another spell. Dump a Niang. And at this point, you can go like Lao effect. Target monster. Send this. And bring this back. So you see that right here in this instance. They've already used Lao. So first of all, Nibiru is like free. They can't like make anything else to like come back from this. Even though this is 4 summon. Second, you don't care that they make a 9 here. Main reason being that like even if they do make a 9 and they get Nibiru, the recovery is like not the same. So that's important to note. The other thing to note is that like in other hands where they don't draw capital, what you're gonna see often is you're gonna see the same exact board presence, which is this. Except now they're gonna need to normal summon a monster, which is like, let's say it'll be like a GG or something. At this point in time, you want to nib them when they have level 6 on board, and nib them when they cannot make any level 9s, especially if they're trying to play around Nibiru, right? Like a lot of really good players, what they're gonna try to do is they're gonna try to play around Nibiru, and the way they do that is they make level 9s and they hold their Lao to the end. What you do is you basically punish them for holding the Lao because you're gonna nib them when there are only level 6s, which means there's physically no way for them to make a VFD through this, which is really, really important because if you nib them on level 9s, they can just make Cloud Castle. It'll bring back the level 9 that they just made that got attributed off Nibiru. So that's like something really, really important to note. Next, I'm gonna talk about the effectiveness of like some hand traps are rising in popularity. DD Crow is not that good. The main reason DD Crow isn't that good is because when you like have Qinglong and they like DD Crow the Qinglong, any extra name plays through DD Crow because they haven't effectively used Qinglong effect yet, which means that it can still banish to search, which makes this card really, really bad. And then Ash is like hit or miss, right? When you do have Ash, most of the time you want to Ash the desires. because there's a high chance they banish the Gamma. But if you Ash the first name, which is generally correct, if they have the Gamma, you just automatically get punished. So you want to Ash the second thing that gets summoned, unless it's like capital Lulu. If they have capital Lulu Gamma, they won the game anyway. So you definitely have to Ash that. But generally, what you want to do is you want to Ash the first name and then Ash like you want to Ash the second name, and let the first one go through. Because if you Ash the first one and the second one doesn't go through, then for them to make an additional play, like it's really hard to make VFD after that, especially when they commit their normal summon. It's just the only thing to keep in mind is that when you Ash the spell or Ash the effect in the hand, especially when they have capital up, it's just that if they have Gamma, you get really, really punished. But if they go normal summon Niang and they use the first name, you definitely Ash that. Just because you cannot get punished except by Call by the Grave. So anyways, guys, that was a really quick, like 10-11 minutes worth of like content on how to beat this deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it makes sense. If you guys have any questions, feel free to join my Twitch stream and I can explain further in depth. But to summarize, Diacro is not that good. Ash is like in between. Nib is like really strong if you do it correctly. Skillmeisters is pretty decent as well. It's basically like a pseudo Ash when it stops Quinglong. Gamma is like very, very strong because it removes the body and they lose the card. The thing with ashing like names is that they keep in the hand, so if you don't get enough advantage off the ash, they can just do it again the following turn. But Gamma is also really, really insane, being that you don't actually Gamma them on their turn most of the time. You hold the Gamma on your turn and just use it to Gamma and punish their shotgun VFD. If they can make 2, they're already playing through Gamma, so you're already losing. And then this is the Kaiju. The Kaiju is really good. It's a really good side-eye card to keep in mind. The main reason that they play around Gamma, they play into Kaijus. If they play around Kaijus, they play into Gamma. So being able to like play and sideboard both cards really like messes with your opponent's head. And then of course like Lancea, it's like I already showed you guys at the beginning of the video that you can still make double VFD through Lancea, and that's something that not a lot of people know. But so that keep that in mind, that Lancea is hit or miss. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really bad. The instances in which is really bad is that like, look, if you cannot kill them and they make double VFD, their graveyard is fully set up. Like I'm talking fully loaded. So that's why like Lancea is like iffy. I see a lot of players siding this in with confidence, but you got to understand how to. That's why I always advocate understand how to play the deck you're playing against before you just randomly siding cards against the deck or think certain cards are good. Because a lot of people are convinced that Lancea is like insane, but they don't realize that like in that exact hand, I was able to make double VFD through the Lancea if Lancea is your only hand trap, and that's really, really important to keep in mind. That play these decks, and that is allowed. That like playing these decks itself has allowed me to figure out what to beat them. So I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys had some good takeaways from this. And as always, thank you so much for your support, guys. It's a quick video. I want to get right to the point, right to the meat and the potatoes. As always, guys, I hope you take these tips, try them out against Virtual World, and see how that works out for you. The way you hand trap, based on what I told you guys, will punish a lot of bad players piloting the deck as well, and that's also really key. Because it will punish people who plays not optimally. And this deck is definitely a deck that requires you to sequence in a certain way to play as optimal as possible. But that's for another video. But today it's all about how to beat this deck with these hand traps that are really, really relevant or is in the current metagame. But as always, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.